Helping your child apply for scholarships can feel like navigating an insane maze. There are forms and essay prompts and optional sections that don't really feel optional. The good news is once you know what actually matters on scholarship applications and what can really hurt your students' chances, it can feel a lot less overwhelming. So in today's video, I want to walk you through exactly what to include when you're helping your student with their scholarship application so that they can stand out and what they can definitely skip. Now make sure you hit subscribe because every week I have a new strategy for you to work towards that debt-free education with your student. Hey there, my name is Jocelyn Pearson, founder of the Scholarship System, where we help families overwhelmed by the cost of college secure scholarships so that their student can avoid student loan debt. Scholarships are my bread and butter. We've helped families secure well over $15 million to date, and we are not stopping there. Now, just a quick note, this is for U.S. citizens and permanent residents. We're not familiar with the process for international students. Now, before I get into the content of this, I do want to say that finding the right scholarships is one of the most important steps. We don't want to waste our time on applications if it's a scam or if it's based on luck. We want something that we can actually increase our chances of winning. And so I have a free webinar. It's about an hour long. You can go to the scholarshipsystem.com/free webinar, link on the screen, or you can click on that video and it'll take you there. You'll also find the links to all the amazing free resources in the description. But by attending that webinar, I'll help you build a list of legitimate scholarships that have less competition. So make sure that you check that out. Now, once you find that amazing list, it's time to get into the applying. So with step one, I want to jump right into reading the instructions like it's a contract. So most scholarship committees, they receive way more applications than they can award. Now that said, we have found some that get no applicants, but that's explained in that webinar. One of the easiest ways for them to eliminate anyone is by knocking out anyone that has not followed the rules. It's just a fast way to narrow down the pool when there are so many applications. We do this as well at the Scholarship System because we give out a scholarship every single year. So this is why it is so important to pay attention to the details of the applications. This is also a great opportunity for parents. You can print or save the instructions. We have a free app that you can detail a lot of the criteria in there if you go to the scholarshipsystem.com/app app. But checking things like GPA, where does your student have to reside? Does it require a certain major? What are the requirements for documents? Do they need transcripts, proof of enrollment, tax forms? Do they have to submit things in a specific format? Maybe it needs to be PDF or a Google Drive that's shared, or maybe it has to be printed. And I had one that said no staples and I had already stapled it, so I had to go and reprint it all. So watching those. Another big one is word or character limits in responses or minimums. Sometimes they say don't go above this. Sometimes they go don't go below this. So we want to treat all the rules like a checklist that keeps our student from accidentally forgetting something that's vital and from just being thrown into the trash before they even read their hard-earned essay that they worked so hard on. Let's get into step number 2, and that is to fill in the application form carefully. So before your student even gets to the essay, there's usually a online or sometimes paper form, but usually online for application for basic info. This is where students can get a little sloppy because they're just kind of quickly typing things in. But we don't want to do that, right? So we want to focus on what are they truly asking for? Is it their official legal name? Do they need any kind of transcripts? What kind of contact information? We want to make sure we don't mistype our email. Is the academic information accurate? GPA, credits, major. They might ask for activities or honors lists, and they might want it listed chronologically or by most recent. Now, here's a quick tip on what we could possibly skip, and that is a goofy email address. So when we're doing this and we're filling it in, and if it says hotgirl66 at gmail.com. I don't know. I just made something up. But if we have an embarrassing email, we kind of want to switch that up. Maybe sign up for a more mature and adult-like email. We also don't want to make the mistake of rounding up a GPA beyond what it actually is. And we also don't want to leave optional fields blank for no good reason. If we have the information, I'd say just go ahead and fill it in. There's a reason they're asking for it, most likely. All right, let's get into step 3, and that is gathering attachments early or any kind of requirements early. So a lot of students lose time or even miss deadlines because they wait until last minute to find the required documents. Common attachments can include transcripts, unofficial or official, that we need to make sure we need to find out which one is required and how long our school needs in order to fulfill that request. Maybe proof of enrollment or acceptance letter, same thing there. Any kind of financial documents, maybe copies of FAFSA or any kind of need-based scholarships. They might ask for a resume, so we want to make sure that's ready to go and really tailored towards the scholarship. And there's one more big one, but I'm going to save that for the next step. But just a quick tip here for parents before I get into that. Any materials, I really recommend working with your student and teaching them, if they don't already know, where to save it online into a shared drive. So by putting it online, I actually had this happen where my computer crashed and I lost a lot of my materials for scholarships. It was so painful. So I really recommend always having everything in Google Drive or Dropbox, something that's virtual, that is up in the cloud. Okay, and then step 4 goes into recommendation letters. So this is also something that we have to acquire that might be required, and it will take time, especially if we want it to be well written. Some scholarships require anywhere from 1 to 3 letters from teachers, coaches, community letters, but busy people. So best practices, first and foremost, you want to get your student to ask for a recommendation letter minimum 2 weeks before a deadline, but ideally 3 to 4 weeks. We want to give that person time to really write a well-crafted recommendation letter. We don't want them down to the wire because we weren't on top of things. The next tip here is to actually provide a brag sheet. Have your student list out their activities, their achievements, their goals. Even if the teacher loved them, they may not remember, hey, I went from a C at the beginning of the semester and raised it up to an A by the end because I worked so hard. So having a summary of our accomplishments and things that they can speak about in that recommendation letter can make it a lot stronger. I also recommend including the scholarship description. So that way they can actually tailor the letter to the scholarship. Some recommenders will say, here's a generic one, just enter it whenever you need to. But some of them are willing to tweak it for each of the applications that we need. Now, here is what to skip when it comes to these recommendation letters. Don't have your student ask someone who doesn't know them. If they don't know them well, they won't really have much personal stuff to put in it. Even if they have an impressive title, we want it personal and heartfelt, and that will beat a generic one that's done by someone that's maybe higher up any day. Okay, now I'm realizing this video is getting pretty long. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit pause here. I'm going to wrap up this video, and then I'm going to put the rest of the 7 steps in the next video. So again, before you even get there, you need to make sure that you have a list of legitimate scholarships. You can get that at thescholarshipsystem.com/free webinar. The link is here, or you can click on this video. That will help you build the list of scholarships. And then make sure you hit subscribe so that you see part 2 of my walkthrough of the scholarship applications. I will see you there.